So Tuesday night, you both come home from work and you say, "Let's go out and get something to eat. Let's relax a little bit and have a drink and Bertucci's. Let's
Well,
go there."
well, actually, we were supposed to go Saturday. We had a afternoon show planned for Saturday to see Captain America because, again, we're both of us are very superhero fans. We love them all, and we were excited to see Captain America. I bought the tickets back in February, and he had a class, and the class ran late, so we couldn't go. So I transferred the tickets over to Tuesday's show. I said, well, Tuesday's an easy night. Not a lot of people are going to be there. We'll go. We'll hit Bertucci's like we usually do. And we said whenever we went to the movies, we went to Bertucci's first, sat at the bar. The bartenders knew us. We ordered the drinks, and and he looked at me because his drink came first. And he had a Sam Adams on draft. And he goes, "How didn't you order a drink?" I go, "Yeah, she obviously likes you better, so you get your drink first. I have to wait for mine." So then my Corona came, and I honestly don't think we even took a sip of them. As usually we do a cheers, like who's going to win tonight, Captain America or Iron Man, and I was looking forward to that part. And then we heard someone scream, and we didn't know if it was a scream because someone had just burned themselves or cut themselves or something. And then we both turned and looked. And we saw this woman with the man standing kind of behind her, but next to her, sort of. And then we saw the knife, and we saw him stab her. And she was screaming and screaming, and she was running towards me, and her eyes kind of locked on me, and she's screaming like, "Help me, help me!" And I pushed her aside, and then the chairs at Bertucci's are kind of like angled, so I grabbed one of the chairs thinking I could use that to hit him. But it was a really heavy chair, and I'm not strong. and I whipped it around in front of me, and I hit him in the leg, but I didn't do I didn't knock him over or anything. And so I grabbed the back of his shirt and held onto the back of his shirt, thinking I can just hang on to him, and George can get the knife. And it happened really, really fast. So I wasn't like hanging on to him. I just hung on to him, and then it was gone. And then George started wrestling with him. And George and I we watch. I'm a big fan of Criminal Minds and
You and my wife.
police shows and stuff. Yeah. And he always used to say about people with knives and when they're injuries, they're like, why don't they just grab them around the elbows? Then they can't lift the knife up. So I'm thinking that's exactly what George did, because he crouched down a little bit, and I believe he was trying to go around the middle of him, right above his elbows, so that he couldn't pick up the knife to stab anybody, and then somebody else could get the knife out of his hands. And I believe that's what he was trying to do, but I don't think he got his arms around him enough. And the man pulled his arm out and then stabbed George in the temple. And he kind of like stumbled a little bit backwards and then fell to the ground. And I thought he got stabbed in the face. So when I saw him, I realized it was really, really bad. It was really bad, and I immediately leaned down on top of him and started touching his head. And that's when I heard the off-duty officer, come around, and it seemed like it was kind of like a fog thing. I don't know. I heard him saying, "Drop your weapon, drop your weapon, drop your weapon." And when he didn't, the officer shot him. And thank God he did. Was it? And then I think he told him to drop his weapon again, and then it got quiet. And then someone saying, "Call 911, call 911." So I ran, grabbed my phone off the bar, and started dialing 911. And the call wasn't being answered. But of course now I don't know about the Macy's portion of this. I don't know any of this happened over there at all. And I'm angry, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. And I became that lunatic that was in a bad situation, where I was just screaming because nobody was answering. And it was my poor husband is laying there, and this idiot is sitting right a table away from him on the floor. And someone yelled, "I have 911 on the phone." I said, "Oh, thank God," threw the phone down and just grabbed George's hand. And I said, "Honey, I'm here." And then this nurse came out of nowhere, and it's the wife of the off-duty deputy. And she's a nurse over at Taunton Memorial Hospital, and God love her. She grabbed napkins and put it against George's head and put deep compress on it. And then she instructed the people that were helping the waitress that had been stabbed to make sure that they had all napkins and pressure on the back of on all of her wounds. Make sure there's pressure. Keep her awake. Keep talking to her. Make sure she's awake. And George, and she just kept dealing with that. And then finally, when the paramedics and the police arrived, they took over and took care of George. And then this officer, huge, tall officer, I don't remember his name, grabbed me and put me into a chair. And the nurse stayed right with me, right until we went get into the ambulance. And I was put into the ambulance, and then I was taken out of the ambulance. And they said they're going to med flight him. And
so he was still alive at that point?
oh yeah. Not good, not good in any way. He was not talking.
Was he
to
able
me
to
at
say
all.
anything? Oh, I was
No.
gonna, okay. So
No.
there were no words after
No,
the.
no. The last words that he had actually spoken to me at while we were sitting at the bar was, "I really need to see my sister Jan. I'm going to go see my sister Jan this weekend." And I'm like, "Well, then go do it. Well, you don't wait for an invitation. Just go." And that was the last.
So what
thing we said.
propels you into action? I mean, obviously you were the first one to take action against this guy by trying to assist the waitress and by trying to pull his shirt. What are you thinking about at that point, or are you not thinking?
I wasn't thinking, and I don't know if I was the first person, because they say people were throwing chairs, and I don't know that. I focused on the girl. I didn't. Somebody asked me if I saw the face of the man that they're showing on TV, and I said I honestly couldn't tell you if that was him. I focused on the girl, and when she was running at me, and she's this young, small little thing. I'm 5'1", and she was tiny, and I just was thinking I got to help her. I mean, how do you not help her? And was it? And then when the guy was, I mean, I saw his face for a brief second, so yeah, that probably was him. But I saw his shirt, and that's all I could do was grab the shirt. If I grab the shirt, then he can't get any further. But then he was gone, and then George got him.
So there was no communication between you and your husband. I mean, you both just swung into action and kind of did what you
Right,
both thought
yeah.
had to be done at that point.
Absolutely.
Boy, I'll tell you what. I wish I knew if I'd have the guts to do what you guys did, or how the mindset to even do that.
I don't think you know about it until you're there. I mean, I'm a mom. I mean, my whole being is about taking care of other people and making sure that they're taken care of in the right way, and they get what they need when they need it. And George is the same way, and I think that's why we made such a great couple. I mean, you didn't have a George without Rosemary, and you didn't have Rosemary without George.
Was there ever a moment that it occurred to you that you might die, that you were in danger?
No, because
Didn't even have time to think of that.
The moment wasn't there until afterwards, when I realized that had that officer not shot him, I would probably be dead. Because I immediately forgot what he was doing. I forgot that he had a knife in his hand. I just immediately went down to the floor to see my husband and see him and help him. And I knew the minute I saw him, I couldn't help him. And then that became a moment where you say, what do? You can't, you're helpless now. And thank God that deputy was there.